puts us within a hair's breadth of halfway to our minimum goal. Why is that important, and why have a minimum goal at all? The reason for having a minimum goal, we're finally up on YouTube. Hey, it's working now. That's fantastic. The reason that a minimum goal is important is because if we can get that minimum, then we can have the funds that we need in order to push this campaign out to so many more people. Either way, though, we only have until September 30th to be able to get to that minimum. So it's really, really important that that can happen now. If you feel inspired, if you're like, I know I'm going to invest in this, and I know I keep saying this, but now is the time. It really is the time. This is the week to make it happen. We are so blessed to have so many who have come already to the shift. Just a few weeks ago, we were sitting at $12,000. $12,000 in investment. Now we're all the way up to $37,400. To my knowledge, that's where it's at right now. If we can get to $93,000 in the next week, just week and some change, we will have what we need to really push this out to hundreds of thousands of more people. And why is that important? Why push it out to people? Because we are trying to reach people so that they know what the shift is, so that they will then invest and make it something that they're partnering with us to make it happen. So it's really important right now. It's just really important right now to make that happen. And those of you that have already invested, we thank you so much. You're so important to us, and we're so grateful for you. Trying to see if I'm missing any comments here. Not yet right now. Okay, cool. If at any time you want to drop a question, please feel free to do so. I'm ready to answer whatever questions you've got. We've had some great questions in the past streams, and I look forward to seeing what you have to hit me with today. We do have a YouTube page. We are live on YouTube right now, and we do have a YouTube page. It's called The Shift Film. If you haven't subscribed there already, I highly recommend it. We just recently passed 2,500 likes on Facebook. 2,500. Not too long ago, we were sitting at 500, now 1,000, 2,000, now to 2,500. We'll hit 3,000 in no time. Why does that matter? Again, it just means that more people are coming to see the shift. The more people that come to see the shift, the more people are coming to invest, and the closer we're getting to making that feature film. The feature film, by the way, I have a huge announcement about. We're not there yet. We're getting there very close. It's very close. That announcement is just around the corner. So if you're waiting for me to talk about what that is, it's coming. Moderator, I'm afraid you're going to have to text me questions. For some reason, my setup is different today, and I can't see the comments as much as I used to be able to. So if there's any comments that are really important, please just text me, and I will get them, and we will make sure that they are asked. Cool. And also with any investments that come in. For some reason, I just can't see comments as well as usual. Okay, so other big news, and this is the big news from a couple of weeks ago, but it's big enough news that it's worth mentioning again, which is that Dallas Jenkins is our executive producer. If you're just joining us for the first time, you're wondering what the shift is all about, it is a short film that I made, with a lot of help, obviously, but I'm the writer-director. And Dallas Jenkins just recently came on as moderator. You can go ahead and send me those questions and any other things I need to know on Facebook. That's just fine. I'll see it through Facebook Messenger. Dallas Jenkins came on as executive producer for the feature film. That means that as we go forward into making the feature film, and even right now, Dallas is helping me. Dallas is giving me, advice and encouragement and helping me, craft this feature film so that it can be the best that it can be. If you've seen The Chosen, which Dallas is the creator of, co-writer on, and the director of all the episodes, you know how talented that man is and how savvy he is when it comes to filmmaking, when it comes to the art of visuals and sound and putting that all together. And I break it down in that way because being able to master all of those elements, or being able to properly corral all those elements into one experience, is a unique skill that not a whole lot of people on this planet have. There's a lot of people who can do one thing or the other, but a director has to be somewhat good at everything, and Dallas is the real deal. And I'm so excited to have his mentorship, to have his friendship, and to have him as a creative partner here on the Shift film. I can't think of anybody better for us to have on board to help us make this as good as it can possibly be. So I will not stop talking about Dallas. You cannot make me. It will not happen. Um, At the end of this live stream, just to tease another announcement that we're going to make, at the end of this live stream, I'm going to tell you all about the very special live stream that we have planned for 5 p.m. Pacific. Set your calendars now, 5 p.m. Pacific on Thursday, this coming Thursday. We're going to have a very special live stream. The one hint I'll give you is that we're going to have some special guests, and I can't wait for you to meet them and to talk with them, and I will give the full details at the end of this broadcast, because I have another bigger announcement that I want to share with you, and I don't want to distract from that. So stay tuned for a big announcement at the end, but an even bigger announcement is coming up in just a few minutes. Before we get to that, I want to shout out our recent investors. Just today, we had a number of investors come in, and we are so grateful for them. I want to shout out to Karen, who invested with $100. Thank you, Karen. Deanna, who invested with $250. Sherry, and I hope I'm pronouncing your name right. Sherry invested also with $100. And then Nancy came in with $1,000. Nancy, thank you. Those bigger investments, every investment is extremely valuable to us. But those bigger investments, of course, we get really excited about because they get us that much further to our goal. So Nancy, thank you. We are so grateful for your partnership. For all of you, we're grateful for your partnership. We're grateful to have you on board this journey with us. And we hope that it is a journey that is exciting for you and that we can share with you as much as possible as we go forward. Oh, I just got a text from Dallas about something special that he's planning for the shift that I need to respond to him on, but I can't right now. Dallas, sorry, I am in the middle of a live stream. But Dallas has something cool, shift related, that he's preparing. And that'll be for later, but that's just what that's related about. So there's another tease for you, but we're not going to talk about that one anymore. Okay. Looks like we've got a question here from a fan. Why make it a feature? Which is still really cool, but why not a series like The Chosen or Vindication? I'm not familiar with Vindication, but I definitely know The Chosen. So the question is why would we not just make it a TV show, right? Because then it can be perpetual, right? We can keep on going with this journey over and over and over again, like with The Chosen. And look, there's nothing I would love more than to make a TV show. I would love to make a TV show at some point, but that TV show is not going to be The Shift. The Shift is not that. And the reason for that is because Kevin's journey of faith is a very specific journey, and it's a journey that has a finite beginning, middle, and end. You've seen some of the beginning. That's what you've seen in the short film. You've seen a part of what will be the first act of the film. But those second two acts are leading to a definitive conclusion. And the best way to tell that story is in a short form, is to tell that story with a 2-hour time run. I don't really know how to explain it better than that, because to really get into the weeds on that would be to say more about the story and how it's structured and why we're ending it. But I believe that when you watch the feature film and you see it all the way through and you get to that ending, I think you're going to understand exactly why it's not a series. Kevin's journey has a beginning, a middle, and an end. And when we get to that end, I promise you'll be satisfied. And I don't make that promise lightly, because everybody, has a different experience with films. But I truly believe that it is a satisfying cinematic experience. This is a movie. And I think you're really going to love what it is and how it plays out and what it becomes. And it stays very true to the themes of the short. If you have connected with the themes of that short, then you're going to love the feature film. But we can only make it, of course, with investment. And I am going to bring this up a few times over the course of this broadcast. We're going to get to other things, and we're going to talk about stories and really cool things. But, the investment is what gets us to make that feature film. And by the way, if you're watching this right now and you feel like other people should be watching it, please share this broadcast. You can, if you're on Facebook right now, you can share this broadcast in groups that you belong to. You can share this with your friends. Let's get this broadcast out there, because some people may not know that it's happening right now. And if they did, they would be watching right along with us. So I hope you'll share this and let people know. We do have a really cool announcement coming up pretty much right now. So hopefully, if anybody's going to be jumping in, they're going to do that soon. We do have another question from or rather a comment from a fan. This is from Judy. Judy says, if Dallas Jenkins is really helping you and advising you, Judy, do you doubt me? Then you need to make up and learn a jingle. So Dallas is famous for his jingles. Dallas will come up with a jingle for the store and for the website and things like that. Look, the last thing you want is for me to sing. That's really the last thing that anybody wants. So no, I don't have a jingle, but maybe I'll be forced to come up with one at some point. You'll know that we're really struggling with the investment when I make up a jingle. Let's put it that way, because then I'm trying everything. I'm pulling out all the stops. But good question, Judy. Good tip. Roxy is asking, I just happened to see this. She's saying, I only see a blank screen. Am I the only one seeing a blank screen? I hope you're not the only one. If anybody else is seeing a blank screen, we definitely don't want that. Oh, I just got a notification that we are now up to 37,900. I would love to know how we got there. Moderator, if you could let me know who put those investments in so that we can celebrate it. That puts us only $2,100 away from hitting 40,000. So we're that much closer to our goal for the stream. I hope we can get there. Let's see if we can get there. Got some kids coming into this room. Let's hope not. Okay. So the big announcement. Let's talk about a band that I love. Let's talk about Jars of Clay. Jars of Clay is an amazing Christian rock group that I have been a fan of since 1996, and I'll tell you exactly when I became a fan. I became a fan of Jars of Clay when I was serving as a missionary in Arizona, and I was in a Walmart, and I was looking for music that I could listen to as a missionary. You know, when you're a missionary, you're trying to stay close to the Lord, trying to stay close to the Spirit, and you want to be able to listen to things that are going to promote that are going to put you in the right frame of mind. And I'm going to take a small break from that story to recognize Joel from Missouri, who just invested for $250. Thank you so much, Joel. Thank you for helping us to get to our goal, and especially to our live stream goal of $40,000. Appreciate that. Also take this question real fast. Will we have any Shift merch? That's a good question. I don't know that that's going to be able to happen during the time of our investment period because our energies are focused on so many other things. I can tell you that my wife ordered me a the Shift hat for my birthday several years back, and it's such a beat up hat now that I don't wear it for these streams. But it would be cool to make more of those and have those go out. So I think maybe as we're making the movie, maybe we can start thinking about things like that. I'd love a t-shirt too. But that's definitely on my mind, but I just don't know that it's going to happen right now in the next month just because we want our focus to be on investment. Okay, great. So, Jars of Clay. So I'm in Walmart. I'm trying to find something to listen to, and I pretty much can't listen to anything in the entire store because it's all not appropriate for a missionary's lifestyle. So I wander over to the Christian section, and I'm looking through all of the music, and I can't quite find anything that is really speaking to me. And look, I'm going basically just based on cover art, right? That's all I've got to go on. So I'm looking at the cover art, and I'm thinking about the bands that I used to listen to before I was a missionary, like Nirvana and Pearl Jam and, bands like that. And so I'm looking through the racks, and I find this CD of this band called Jars of Clay, and it's their debut album. And I'm looking at the cover, and I looked at it, and I thought, okay, well, this is the closest thing to something that looks like something I would listen to. So cold buy with the very little money that I had at the time, because I was that desperate for something good to listen to. I did a cold buy of Jars of Clay's first album, took it home, listened to it, and I pretty much haven't stopped listening to that album in the last 24 years. In fact, I listened to it twice just this week. And Jars of Clay and I began a journey together, although they did not know it. Through the years, through meeting my wife, through having kids, I've bought every album. I've been listening to them for years. Okay, why am I going on about Jars of Clay? So Jars of Clay is music that has meant so much to me. Not just the music, but also the words, the lyrics. I find so much of what I think of as just great art within Jars of Clay. Jars of Clay, what they do the musically, which I have no musical talent, but musically what they do, lyrically what they do, it speaks to me. They sing about suffering, and they sing about faith and the difficulty of faith and how difficult it can be to maintain faith, while at the same time having plenty of songs that are all about faith and the benefits of it and how great it can be and worship and things like that. Jars of Clay is like the whole package. They're taking the entire, at least I think, if you look over their entire history of song making and you look at it, what they're really dealing with is the human experience of having faith, the human experience of being a Christian. That's what Jars of Clay sings about, and that's what speaks to me. And so that's why I've been a fan for all these years. Through all of their musical metamorphoses, I've been there the whole time, and I've enjoyed every minute of it. It's a band that just means a lot to me, and to my family, quite honestly. My wife and I, just if I can talk about her for a minute, my wife and I, when we met each other, let's just say my wife wasn't my biggest fan when we met. She saw me as kind of, I don't want to say stalker, but that's actually the right word. She saw me as a stalker because I would follow her out from our college class to her car and walk her to her car, and apparently that was not okay if you don't actually really know the person. But I was awkward and I didn't know that, and I just wanted to be her friend. Anyways, long story short, we eventually did become friends and had some great conversations together. And Jars of Clay was the first thing that we bonded over. That was the first thing that we realized that we had in common, and I think it was kind of the first thing that opened up my wife's eyes to the fact that I wasn't actually a stalker and I wasn't this complete loser. And so Jars of Clay is just so significant to me in so many ways because of that. For me, they've been a touchstone of my life for the last 24 years. Really important. Okay, so how do we get from Jars of Clay to the Shift? This is where it gets fun. So when I was writing the script for the Shift, actually all the way back to when I was making my first notes for the feature film of the script, I had this sequence in mind, and I knew there was a Jars of Clay song that would be perfect for it, absolutely perfect. In my mind, it became so perfect that I knew I had to have the song, even though I had no connection to Jars of Clay. I didn't know anybody who knows Jars of Clay, and there was no reasonable expectation that I'd ever get in touch with them. I just thought, I'm going to write this song in and hope for the best. And so that's what I did. And I crafted this entire sequence. And when you see the feature film, when you see that sequence, it's a powerful sequence. But could I get the song? And I didn't know, but I knew I had to have the song. So I put it in there as a matter of faith. As a matter of faith. Janice just said loved her, meaning my wife, in the 20-minute clip. She's talking about the pitch video. My wife's got that great moment where she's talking about Jennifer Garner, whether Jennifer Garner will take her place, because my wife actually plays Molly in the Shift, in the short film. But yeah, I think she does a pretty great job. That was actually her little bit that she created for the pitch, and so we had to keep it in. So I wrote this song into the script, and I wanted to see, as a matter of faith, could I one day possibly get it in there? Now, you're thinking, well, crud, Brock, you're connected to Dallas. Like, of course you've had conversations with Jars of Clay, and of course getting in touch with them now is super easy. The thing is that, Dan Hasseltine, who is the lead singer and songwriter for Jars of Clay, and Matt Nelson, who toured with the Jars, is not a member of Jars, but toured with Jars. Dan and Matt are the composers for The Chosen, which means that Dallas knows Dan and Matt. And yes, where this going is that I eventually got connected to Dan and Matt, but I did not get connected through Dallas. In fact, Dallas was surprised when I finally did tell him that I had talked to them. And it was actually my friend Kara, who some of you may know. My friend Kara on Facebook was friends with Matt Nelson, who's the co-composer, with Dan on The Chosen. All the music for The Chosen, the song Trouble, Dan sings that song. All of that music is done by Dan and Matt. And so Kara is friends with Matt. Kara gets me in touch with Matt, and Matt and I just start talking. And I was brave enough to say, hey, have you seen The Shift? And Dan said, or rather Matt said, no, I haven't. And so I sent him a link and he watched it. And then he came back and told me later, yeah, I really loved the shift. I loved it so much. In fact, I sent a link to Dan and Dan watched it and he loves it too. Let's back up here for a second. I'm literally freaking out at this point because Dan has absolutely no idea how big a fan, Matt at this point has no idea how big a fan I am of Jars of Clay and how significant that is for me, that somebody, a Christian, somebody whose faith, somebody whose artistry and work I've admired for so long has seen something that I created and actually enjoyed it. It was a mind blow. I could not believe that was actually happening. And here I am, I'm a hair's breadth away from actually reaching the guy who wrote the song that I need in my movie. I'm a hair's breadth away from him now, and I'm wondering where this is going and what's going to happen. And so Matt and I keep talking, and I told him about the song. I told him about the song that I need, that I have to have for the shift, and I asked Matt if he and Dan would like to read the script. I mean, I just went for it. And Matt said yes. And so I sent, and I'm talking about the script for the feature film. I sent the script to Matt. I sent the script for him to pass it along to Dan. And they read the script. They actually read the script. Now, when I say that, if you're a filmmaker, you understand how big a deal that is. Everybody else listening is like, well, yeah, you sent them the script. I want to read that script. I would read that script. No, you don't understand. People don't read scripts. You can send somebody a script, and then 6 months later, they still haven't read the script. That's how that usually goes, okay? Scripts are long. They're a little tedious to read because they're not a movie and they're not a book, but they sound like a movie, but they're not a movie. They're difficult to read. They're not always that fun, even though they can be very exciting on their own. But Dan and Matt read the script. They actually read it. And now we're on a Zoom meeting together. And when I sent the script, I told Matt to say to Dan, I said, look, tell Dan that Nancy's telling me here comes the tears. No, I'm not going to do it. I'm not going to cry. Kyler says, people do not read scripts. Yes, Kyler, you know what I'm talking about. Kyler's a filmmaker. Even actors. Yes, you're right. Even actors. Nobody reads scripts. It's so hard to get somebody to read your script, and so they did. But they did. Oh, we're up to 38,250 now. Fantastic. Moderator, can you hit me with some of those names? I want to shout them out. So now we're on a Zoom meeting. Oh, no, back up. So I sent the script, but I sent it with a note. I said to Matt, I said, look, Matt, please tell Dan that I was not being presumptuous when I wrote the song into the script. I was not being presumptuous. I was just being hopeful. So I don't know how Dan took that, but I wanted him to know that like I wasn't trying to put anything, by him. I wasn't trying to sneak anything in. It was just a hopeful thing. We got Deborah in Texas for $100. Thank you so much, Deborah. So appreciate that. So they read the script. Now we're in a Zoom meeting together, and we're talking about the script. And I have the opportunity to talk to two of who at this point are some of my personal heroes. Because if you haven't listened to the soundtrack for The Chosen on its own, go to iTunes, buy it, stream it, whatever you got to do. You have to listen to this piece of music on its own. The first season soundtrack for The Chosen is an incredible piece of music. I bought it day one. So I've been a fan of Dan for years. Now I'm a huge fan of Matt's. These are two of the most talented people that I currently am aware of or have ever been in touch with. And I have the opportunity to sit there and ask them, so what did you think of my script? What did you think of my script? I'm asking Dan Hasseltine and Matt Nelson, what did you think of my script? That was almost hard to say. That was hard to even get out and say because it sounded like I was asking them to, stroke my ego or something, and it wasn't really that. I just genuinely wanted to know, what did they think? Were they open to, to the song and were they open to the whole thing? And then we talked for the next hour and a half. It was a fantastic conversation. It was a real meeting of the minds. They got the script. They saw what I was doing. They saw how different it is. They saw how what I'm trying to do with it, the message that I'm trying to promote. They saw how it could be powerful, how it is trying to do, not that it can compare, but trying to very much follow in the footsteps of what Dallas is doing with The Chosen, in the sense of trying to make a different kind of Christian entertainment. As we say in our pitch video, Christian viewers are smart, and they deserve intelligent entertainment that doesn't condescend. I'm quoting that badly. I wrote the line, but I'm quoting it badly, and I can't even quote my own lines. But you understand what I'm saying. We're trying to make something that is up here as much as we can. That's the aspiration. Whether or not we hit it is up to you. But that's what I'm trying to do. And they saw it, and they said, you know what, dude? You hit it. This is right in line with what we like and what we hope that we can see from Christian entertainment and faith-based entertainment. Needless to say, that was a huge moment for me. That was a hugely affirming moment for me. And then the conversation kept going. And I am very pleased to announce that Dan Hasseltine and Matt Nelson the composers of The Chosen are now the composers for The Shift. They will be composing the music for this feature film. This is a journey that I'm going to take with them and with you. Not only do we have Dallas as executive producer, but we have just gotten the composers of The Chosen, Dan Hasseltine and Matt Nelson, are going to be composing the music for The Shift. That is huge. That is not something I expected. That is not something that I mean, that's like beyond the wildest dreams. How could that even be possible? To work with heroes like that, personal heroes of mine, to work with them on that level, to have camaraderie with them, to have creative meetings with them. There's so many things that I'm so excited and so looking forward to. Just talking with them already, having some conversations about the script and what they saw in it and the different things we want to do. I'm so excited. They caught the vision of it. You guys are freaking out in the comments right now. My stream is like your stream is a little bit slower than mine, so you're catching up to now what I was talking about just a minute ago. And you guys are crazy excited, and I'm so glad that you're excited. If you've seen The Chosen, which I'm assuming a lot of you have, you know how powerful their work is. And the great thing about The Shift, and I know this is one of the things that Dan and Matt are excited about because we've talked about this. What's exciting is that what they're going to do with The Shift is going to be completely different from what you've heard in The Chosen. The Chosen, they're doing some very specific things, and it's very unique, but it's very particular to The Chosen. But what Matt and Dan can do and are capable of and have done in their music career, of course, is much more varied than that. And so we're going to be going down some really interesting musical roads and paths, and I'm sure we're going to go off track for a while, and then we'll have to come back in. And there's a whole process to this that I'm just so excited about, and that they're very excited about to make work that is going to really be distinguished in a powerful way from the work that they have done on The Chosen. But I couldn't ask for better partners on the music side than that. Quite honestly, it thrills me to no end. And look, and you're thinking, well, it's just the music, man. Like the music, like I barely even notice music, when I watch movies. And if that's the case, then that's great. I mean, there's certainly people watch movies and they don't really notice the music at all. But I can tell you that music makes such a difference. It makes such a difference. Having the right music is almost everything. In fact, there's a great story about Star Wars. Star Wars, George Lucas held a screening for all of his friends of Star Wars before they had any music. And and all of his friends watched it, and none of them liked it except for Steven Spielberg. He could see it. But all the rest of them were just like, what have you done, George? This is awful. And then John Williams came in, and John Williams laid down that musical score that we all know so well. And it changed the movie. It transformed it completely. And all of a sudden, Star Wars became Star Wars. Star Wars without the music is not Star Wars. It's just not. Try to imagine it. You can't. And so I know that music is so important. And I know that what they're going to bring to this is just going to raise the bar of what this production is going to be. If you're thinking about investing, especially those of you, and I get messages like this more and more, those of you that wish you had gotten in on The Chosen, this is the time to get in on The Shift. We are going forward. We are getting the people we need. The creative talent is coming in. We haven't even gotten to the actors yet. Who knows who we're going to get for actors? But there is a groundswell that's happening right now, both behind the scenes that you guys don't even know about, but that I'm revealing to you today, and also with just you and your partnership. If you're thinking, my gosh, this guy's getting Dan, he's getting Matt, and he's getting Dallas, is he just going to just grab everybody from The Chosen and just bring them on over to The Shift? I mean, does he have any original ideas? No, I don't have any original ideas. The Chosen's amazing. If I can get everybody from The Chosen over to The Shift, that would be great. Okay, no, that's not true. I do have original ideas. But when it comes to amassing a crew and it comes to getting people, I want it to be the best people. And when I look at The Chosen, I realize that's where a lot of the best people are. So I'm very, very happy to pull from as many of Dallas's team as I possibly can, because I know that our movie is going to be just that much better for it. So if you want in on this, if you want to be partners with us, if you want to join this journey, come on over, invest. Let's make it happen. Let's get to that 40K today, and let's get all the way to the million. But I think that you're going to be really happy with how things keep on progressing from here. From Katie over on YouTube, congratulations, Brock. I am psyched about that awesome announcement. Dan and Matt are the best. Yes, they are. I am also psyched, Katie. Thank you. Yes, Katie, thank you for being excited. Judy says, you're living in Dallas's path. Fasten your seatbelts. You know what? It's a good path to be in. I could not imagine that I would be able to achieve what he has with The Chosen, but with The Shift, I think that we're going to achieve something else, something that's very unique to The Shift. And I think that there are people that we can reach with it that maybe wouldn't give The Chosen a try, and then we can get them to watch The Chosen. So very, very happy to have Dallas on my team, follow his path, and to have Matt and Dan as well. Dan and Matt and Dan, I don't know how they go by. So I'll just keep switching it up. All right. So that is our big announcement for today. I think that's probably big enough for today. At the end of this stream, however, we are going to circle back to that announcement about our Thursday live stream, and I'll let you know who is going to be joining us. Technology willing, we'll make that happen. Also, as just a reminder, especially if you're joining us right now, we ask that you please share this stream. Share this stream with your friends. Share this stream in groups that you belong to. Let's get as many people over here watching with us as we can. It's always more fun when it's a party. So let's talk comments. This is something that's I did this last time. I shared with you some of the comments because The Shift is going out in lots of different places on Facebook, places that you may not even be aware of, and people are commenting on it. And I thought it'd just be fun to see again what other people are saying. If I can find my collection here, some things that other people are saying about The Shift. Robert says, this was pure genius on a spiritual level. As a child of God, this short film gave me a new perspective on my faith and the courage to keep fighting the good fight. I don't know about the pure genius part. If there is any genius in it, it's definitely not down to me. But I love that it encouraged him to keep fighting the good fight. That's ultimately what I want from The Shift, and I think that's ultimately the message is keep fighting the good fight. You've got somebody pretty great on your side. Deborah says, that was fantastic. Thank you for continuing the movie. I can hardly wait to see the total conclusion. So hurry, I can hardly wait. Great film. Deborah, thank you for that. If you're listening, I definitely want to hurry. I want to make this film as fast as we can. And with your help, with your investment, with your backing and your partnership, we can make that happen. We had a question just come in, so I'll sidetrack from this. Will there be any more shifting in The Shift? Will there be, so in other words, so The Shift, when we're talking about The Shift, of course, we're talking about when Tina the waitress disappears. So the question is there going to be anything more like that, or are we kind of done with that? After all, it's called The Shift, right? It's not called The Shifts. Despite that fact, I'll just say it. Yes, definitively, there's going to be other shifts within the Shift feature film. We're not just going to introduce this crazy concept and then just ditch it, at the beginning of the film. It's going to come back. It's going to be a thing. And it's going to be a thing, I think, in a very surprising way that you're not going to see coming. I think this movie has the potential to surprise you all the way until the end. And one of the big surprises is how shifting is employed and how it factors into the story. So yes, there will be more shifting. Another comment we got from Christian: amazing script and cinematography. Thank you, Christian. Thank you. I wrote it. I appreciate that. And of course, our cinematographer was Kyle Gents, and he should take every bow for that, especially with the budget we were working with. Kyle worked some real magic there. Jamie says, spoke to me this morning. The devil is around every corner. Resist and he will flee in the name of Jesus. Thank you for this reminder. I hope to see this venture come to fruition. Absolutely. It's when Kevin says in the name of Jesus Christ that Satan disappears. That's intentional. We have somebody on our side who is greater than anybody else, including, spirit, supernatural or earthly forces. Full truth. So I'm so glad that connected with you, Jamie. Sherry says, would love to see what happens next. Me too. I want to see what happens next. Who doesn't want to see Kevin walk out the door? I want to see him walk out the door. So if you do too, you know what to do. I don't have to say it. But I've got it written. It's all ready. Just need to get the funding. Donna says, couldn't not watch it all. Very well done. We need this now. We need faith. Jesus, I trust in you. Amen. That's awesome. I love that she couldn't not watch it all. So Donna, maybe she was just going about her day. The shift came up and she started watching, probably thinking she'd ditch it, but she just kept watching it. That's an experience that we're seeing happen a lot. And one of my favorite things to do when people are done watching the shift is to ask them, how long do you think it was? How long do you think the shift is? Hopefully you didn't see the timestamp. But for those that haven't seen the timestamp, I always ask them, how long do you think that film just was? And the answers I get usually range between 10 and 12 minutes. That's what people usually say. And the short film, without the pitch and everything, is a full 20 minutes long, so not short. Question from Noah Bennett. How does Kevin escape the parallel Earth? Noah, you don't want me to answer that. If I answer that, first of all, if I say how, then we're supposing that he does, which maybe he doesn't. And second of all, if I tell you, there's too much of a spoiler. But I will say that the feature film does largely concern... one of Kevin's goal is to get out of there, for sure. Kevin, if you think about it, if you think about what happens in the film, that restaurant, where that is a world that is unfamiliar to Kevin. Satan tells him, they didn't go anywhere. You did. Kevin has been shifted to an alternate Earth. This is not where he was born. This is not where he grew up. This is foreign territory. That's where we leave Kevin at the end of the short film. And that's where we're going to leave him at the end of the first act, in foreign, hostile territory. Is there a way out of there? Is there any way out of there? That's going to be one of the questions that Kevin is going to have for himself. And that's going to be one of the goals he's going to have, is try to find a way off. Is he going to be able to succeed? I don't know. This is based on the story of Job. How do you think it's going to go? Maybe not that well, but we'll see. I'm not giving anything away, I promise. Deborah says, don't like your movie idea. Sorry. I read the Bible every day, and you are trying too hard to please a certain audience. Try less to please an audience and seek to 100% please God instead. Live for an audience of one, not an audience of thousands. He is your editor, writer, and director and audience. Okay, so we got a negative comment slip in there. Deborah, not a fan of the movie, and that's okay. If our ratio is 95% likes to 5% not don't care for it, I'm good with that. When you make something that's different, you run the risk of people not enjoying it. Even The Chosen gets their negative comments. So I don't at all want to beat up on Deborah here. That's not why I included this comment. I included it because I think it's important to address and talk about. Deborah says that she accuses me of trying to please a certain audience, and I'm not necessarily focused on pleasing God. Obviously, I disagree. One of the things when you make a movie is that you are trying to appeal to audiences. That's just part of the game. And it's an important part. You want it to be seen. I don't make a piece of art just to hide it under my bed. That's not what I do. I want to make art that can be shared with people and that can enrich their lives. And so who is the audience for the shift? Well, I think the number one audience is people of faith, obviously. I mean, we're trying to present a faith story and yes, it's fantastical, and yes, it's It's there's things in there that are crazy, but C.S. Lewis wrote about a talking lion and had it as an analog for Jesus. I think there's room within fiction to play around with these concepts a little bit, as long as we're rooting everything back into the principles of the gospel. And I believe The Shift is very successful in doing that. We're not trying to please so much an audience so much as we want to get it in front of them. Do I believe that The Shift can be something that non-believers can watch? I absolutely do, and I hope that they do. I want it to appeal to them. I don't think there's anything wrong with that. I think I can appeal to them and to people of faith and to my Heavenly Father all at the same time. And the fact of the matter is I would not be making this movie if it wasn't coming from a very genuine place. If I wasn't something that was a matter of constant daily prayer for me, and if I didn't feel like I was honoring my Savior and honoring my Heavenly Father through doing it. I mean, that's really the point of it. Certainly, especially right now, there's no monetary compensation for me. I mean, eventually, hopefully down the road, but right now I'm doing this out of a passion and a love for my faith and out of a love for other people and wanting to be able to encourage them and inspire them and give them some hope. And that's the whole point of it for me. Not to please anybody but my Heavenly Father by shining a light in the darkness. And that's what he tells us to do, isn't it? He tells us to not keep our candle under a bushel, but to let it shine and let everybody see it. And to me, I've been given certain skills and talents. I'm trying to get even better and better at them, and I feel like this is a calling for me. That's how I view it. This is how I take my light from under the bushel and I put it forth and I shine it. That's what this movie is for me. This is me trying to shine my light. And if that's a problem for people like Deborah, that's okay. That's fine. It's not for her, and that's fine. That's not a big deal. But I hope that we find the audience that will enjoy The Shift, and I believe that we will, and I think we're finding more and more of them every day. Denise says, I absolutely love this. Thank you, Denise. Judy says, so happy to invest in this film. Judy, you invested. Thank you so much. It has a powerful message to tell and is incredibly well done, and now has Dallas Jenkins on board as executive producer. Can't say that enough. Support this film and Brock Heasley. It's going to change lives, and I want to be a part of it. That's it right there. That's the spirit in which we're making this film. And Walterine said, this was a very good short film. God bless you in your efforts. Thank you. We will take any and all blessings and prayers we can possibly get. We just had a new question come in. When, not if it becomes a feature film, do you know it will just be select theaters? So I think the question is when, first of all, I love the capital when. They're not saying if it becomes a feature film. They believe firmly that it will become a feature film. Will it be in just select theaters or will it go out wide? So that's one of the things that we're going to have to figure out, right? We're making the film, and once the film is made, and of course, while we're making it, we're going to be looking for those partnerships to get it out into theaters. I hope that it's not just select theaters. I hope that we can get this thing out as far and as wide as possible. That's what I want to see happen. And I think if that, because really the goal here is to have it reach as many people as possible. And a theatrical release is a big signal to people that, oh, this is a movie that's worth my time and that's worth checking out. And then, of course, we're going to have, streaming. VidAngel is very excited to host the feature film. We'll have Blu-rays and things like that. But as far as theaters go and which theaters it's going to go into, that is all very far in the future right now. But it is something that will become of primary concern as we get nearer and nearer to completing the feature film. But certainly all eyes are set on the goal of theatrical release and hopefully at a theater very, very much near you. We'll see how that goes. Another question, will the filming location be on the same place or many? In the same place or many? So the filming location is going to be centered around Fresno, California. Again, that's where we made the short film. And as much as we can, we're going to go back to some of those locations that we've already used. And then there's other locations here in Fresno. I've pretty much got the whole city mapped out for where everything in the script needs to happen. And so I think that, and I think Fresno is a town that hasn't been filmed very much. You don't see it in movies. Even though we're only 3 hours from LA pretty much never comes here. And I think Fresno just has the right look for what we want to do. Plus, it means I still get to see my kids off to school in the morning, which I'm very happy about, assuming school has resumed by the time we start filming. Let's hope. But yeah, it'll all be in Fresno. It'll be across different places. We are going to do a little bit of filming outside of Fresno, kind of in the greater California area. One of the great things about California is that pretty much from where I'm living, every kind of weather and locale, I'm talking desert, mountain, snow, beach, is all within 2.5, 3 hours of here. So very, very accessible to get everywhere. And so there are some shoots that we're going to need to take place in different locales, different locations and weathers and things like that. And to tell you why we need to go to those places would be way too much of a spoiler. But the bulk of the shooting is going to happen in Fresno, California. And for those of you that are investors and investors at a certain level, there are perks available. You can come and be an extra with us on set. You can come and visit the set. You can check the site for more details on that, on what those perks are. But you would be welcome to come and join us. And I hope that some of you will. I would love to see as many of our fans come and join us on set. I think that would just be a really, really special time for us. And so I hope that some of you will take that leap with the investment and do that. Reminder to share. Please share this across the internet as much as you can. Groups that you belong to on Facebook, friends and family. Let's let them know what we're doing here today. Another question. In the film, will we be seeing the spiritual side of good as well as evil? Yes, absolutely. The whole point of this film is to show the love of God. I'm just going to be very bold in stating that. The whole point is to show the love of God. And we do that, and I've talked about this in the last live stream. And I'm not going to go too far deep in this because the last time I talked about this, I cried. And I know nobody wants that, right? Everybody's like sick of Brock, teary. No. We show the love of God by showing darkness. That's how we do it. And you're thinking, well, that doesn't really make any sense. This is how it makes sense. When we are experiencing the trials in our life, that's when we think of God as being present in our lives. Think back on the times in your life when you've really struggled and you've really called out, and when he showed up. He showed up in the midst of your darkness, in the midst of your personal trial. That's true for my life. I've passed through some things. People that I love have passed through some things. And when I have seen the love of God so clearly, it has been when I have been the lowest. Kyler says, Brock, if you cry, I'm pulling my investment. I do not want that to happen. I will not cry. The love of God is manifest in times of trial. I really believe that. So we want to show that in the same way that we're showing that in the short film. We're going to show that in an even bigger way in the feature film. We're gonna really beat up on Kevin, but we're also going to show him the love of God, and more than once. And it's going to be there. And if you're listening, and when I say listening, that's a clue. And when you're watching, I think you're going to see it. And I think you're going to see it very clearly. That's the ultimate message I want to get across. So I'm excited to show the spiritual side of good as well as the side of evil. It's not about the evil. It's about the good. And we're going to see that manifest through God's love. Let's see. Any more questions that I'm missing here? I'm just checking over what I've been missing. Rhoda says the Lord is going to continue to open doors that no man can shut. I agree with that, Rhoda. I think the door is open on the shift, and I see more and more doors opening every single day. And some people have even said, they believe very strongly that God is on our side, and that He's going to help us get this funded. And I absolutely 100% believe that. My prayer always is to acknowledge that I can't make this happen. I've been trying to make this happen for years, and there's nothing I can do to get this film funded. But God can help us, and I believe that He is helping us. If I didn't believe that, I wouldn't be doing this. I'm not going to do something that promotes, or rather that deals with spiritual matters without knowing that I have the support of my Heavenly Father. That's just the reality of it. But that said, we all need to remember that he works through other people. So if you've got it on your heart to invest, and I hate talking about money, I said that in my State of the Shift 2 video. I hate talking about money because I just don't like doing it. But the fact of the matter is you can't make a movie without money. It's just impossible. So we do need people to feel like it's part of their responsibility and a part of what they need to do in order to help make this movie happen. And if you don't, and if you can't, then, I understand. We're not asking anybody to do what they can't do. But if you can, and if you feel like it's important, we hope you'll join us. We hope you'll partner with us. One of the things that's happening right now is that this broadcast is being put out to Facebook, and it's also being put out to our website. We call it the portal. The portal is where you make the investment, and you can actually watch this broadcast right now on our portal, as you're doing your investment and things. The great thing about being on the portal is that it frees me up to talk about the investment, to talk about the particulars of the investment. Usually I can't talk about that. Usually I can only talk about that within the portal itself. There's a Q&A thing on the portal, on the investment site, and I can answer any and all questions there. But since we're broadcasting directly to there, I can talk about the investment. So right now, if anybody has any questions about the particulars of the investment, about how it works, I would love to answer those questions. I will say, just basics, this is how it works. You invest your money. It is not a donation. This is not a Kickstarter. You are actually buying a piece of the movie. Shares cost $1 each. The minimum number of shares that you can purchase is 100. 100 shares which is $100, gets you in. Anything above that, you start to get into the perks. The perks like coming to set and having a special meal with me, just you and I, we could talk. Coming to set and being an extra. Getting a chance to see the director's cut of the trailer. Getting a chance to read the script. I'll send you the script and you'll get to read it at a certain point. There's a lot of really cool perks. And for people who really want to get, who really want to invest a lot, we even have perks such as associate producer. You can be an associate producer. You can be an executive producer alongside Dallas Jenkins. That's possible at a certain level. So there's some really cool stuff if you decide that you want to invest and you want to get some of those perks. They're available. So the way the investment works is that you put in your share, and this is what's referred to as a preferred unit. And a preferred unit simply means that you are a preferred investor. At least is my understanding. I am not a lawyer, nor am I a finance guy, so I'm explaining to you what I understand. And if the lawyers correct me later, then I'll have to issue a correction. But this is how I understand it. You have a piece of the film, and as one of our investors through the crowdfund, you will be, in the event that the movie makes money, because you never know, it is a risk, but if the movie makes money, if it is successful, it gets out there, people enjoy it, and we are making money, I don't make a dime until you make all of your money. Plus 20%. All the money that you've invested, you get it back plus 20% before I get anything, and anybody else who is partnered with me. We don't make money until you make money, plus 20%. So that is how it works. So I am extremely invested in making good on your investment, because there's no way for me to gain anything at all until you do. But that is the way it works. And look, that's not just a promise. That is the way it works. The crowdfund is highly regulated by the SEC. We have a number of laws and things that we have to obey, and hoops that we had to jump through to even set this thing up. So all of this is going to be set up, and all of the money is going to be paid out exactly as I am saying. And that, of course, is in the event that the movie makes money. If the movie doesn't make money, it's like any other investment. There's a risk that you will not get your money back. But if you believe in this and you want to see it happen, and you want to make some money, and you believe that it will happen, you want to make some money along the way, I believe the shift is a good investment. But that's up for you to decide, and it's up for you to determine for yourself. Right now, we have the goal of reaching $40,000 We have raised $850 since this broadcast started an hour ago. We've raised $850 in an hour. We need, I'm not sure what we need more than that to get to 40K, but I think we're about 1,000 and some change more to get to the 40K. If you have it on your heart, if you feel like this is a movie that's important, if you feel like this is something that needs to happen, please invest. Please join us. We need to get to that minimum. We cannot get to that. If we don't get to that minimum $93,000 within the next week or so, and I mean that, the next week by September 9th, we are not going to be able to continue to push this movie out to other people and get more of those investors. There are hundreds of thousands of people that we're just waiting to reach. You're the lucky ones. You're the ones that we've gotten to first. So if you feel like this is important, if you want to help us get to that 93K, please invest now. It is so needed. And honestly, we're struggling a little bit. We're a little bit behind the 8 ball. We have less than half of our minimum right now, and we only have about a week to go before we have to reassess our strategy and figure out how or what could be done. So please consider investing right now. And if you do, we will shout you out and call you out. Let's see, we've got some other comments here that I've been missing. Curious, whenever there is a Christian movie that comes out, it is never at a theater showing in my area, even the Hollywood ones. This is from Gailey. Hopefully I'm pronouncing that right. Do you plan to get this movie out to a wider audience? So I talked about this a little bit before, but definitely we want to get this out to as wide an audience as possible. Look, Christian films are not your mega blockbusters. With the exception of The Passion of the Christ, Christian films are not the ones that people line up around the block for. That said, I believe that Christian films are growing. I think they're growing in popularity. I think they're growing in importance, and we want to be part of that. Do I think that the shift has the potential to reach you where you are? Yeah, I do. But do I know that's going to happen? I don't. I can't make any promises. It is in the Lord's hands. It's in your hands. As far as whether or not we even get to make the film to get to that point. But I can only tell you that it is our every intention to get this as wide a release as possible. That is definitely a huge goal. Another question, approximately how long will production be? Good question. So a movie is made in 3 phases. The first phase is pre-production. That's where you set everything up. You get your locations, you get your actors, you figure out what props you need, you get all that, you get everything organized. That can last 3, 4, 5 months. It can last a little while. Then you have your production phase. That's when you're actually filming and shooting the movie. That can last, if you're talking about a Marvel movie, that can last 10 months. If you're talking about a movie like this, an independent, low-budget film, $1 million, right? It seems like a lot of money. It's not. In movie terms, it's not a lot of money. But we know we can make the movie for that much. We're talking probably a 5 to 6 week shoot in that sense. So probably about 5 to 6 weeks to shoot it. But then we enter the post-production phase. Post-production phase is when you get your effects, you color the movie properly, you get your music in there, you get your sound designer in there. We have an amazing sound designer. He did the short. He's coming back for the feature film. He also works on Michael Bay movies, things like that. They're going to be coming in and we do the editing and all of that. And that can take a while. That can take several months, as much as a year, depending on the complexity of things. It's hard to predict, and it's something that I will, of course, be updating you on as we go through it. And keeping you aware of what our progress is and the challenges we're facing and things like that. So, it's not a short process. It's not. Dallas, of course, working on a TV show. A TV show is a little bit different, and his budget is a heck of a lot bigger than ours. The budget for one episode of The Chosen is actually more than the entire budget for this that we're trying to get for this movie. So there's a bit of a difference there, and part of that difference is going to play itself out in the timing of things. But I can tell you that all of my energies have been in this film, and all of my energies will continue to be in this film. And for whatever reason, I don't seem to run out of energy when it comes to this movie. And as much energy as I have right now, I'm going to have it all the way through, and we're going to make this go as quick as we can and get it out to you. But that said, please we ask for patience. Let's see. Will Jonathan Rumi be in the film? Well, Jonathan Rumi, those of you that don't know, Jonathan, oh, I just got an update. Tara says we only need $750 more to get to 40K. Is that right, moderator? You wanna hit me with that? Um, that'd be incredible. Oh, Robert in Michigan just partnered with us for $1,000. Robert in Michigan, holy crud, man! Thank you so much. That is a huge shot in the arm. We are $750 away from 40K. Man, when stuff like that happens, you guys get me. You guys get me as good as any story about my past that we will not revisit because I'm not crying. But that's amazing. We're $750 away from 40K. That's incredible. I'm going to keep going. I'm just going to keep talking. We're going to get there. We're going to get there. Just as a reminder, our ultimate deadline is September 30th. We have September 30th to get from where we are now to $1 million. Can we get there? We'll see. Okay, so the question was, is Jonathan Rumi going to be part of the film? For those of you that don't know, Jonathan Rumi is the incredibly talented actor who plays Jesus in The Chosen. There is nothing I would love more than to have Jonathan involved in this movie. I can even think of a couple of parts that he would be perfect for. Can we get Jonathan? Fair to say that I know some people who know Jonathan, and that getting in touch with him is definitely possible. Is there room in his schedule? Would he be willing to do the film? These are questions I don't know, but I'd be more than happy to have Jonathan. I know exactly who Jonathan could play, in fact, and I will not tell you who that is because that would be a spoiler. Judy asks, do we have to eat at the Satan Diner? No, you do not. I think she's referring to the perk where we get to have a meal together on set. You know what? Maybe if that's where we're shooting that day, we could have a meal together in the diner where Satan is doing his thing. I don't know. It depends on when that happens. That would be kind of fun, wouldn't it? That'd be kind of a trip. We don't have to eat there. If you're uncomfortable with that, we'll go out on the curb. We'll go somewhere else. We'll figure it out. Yeah, I did question remind us of the deadline for the initial investment. I think what they're asking is about the timeline that we're currently on, where we're trying to get to that minimum, September 9th. We are really trying to hit 93 by September 9th. If we can get to 93 by September 9th, we unlock this whole campaign, and we are able to get this movie out to hundreds of thousands of more people, and we would assume that at that point we'd be able to get the investment we would need. We would have a heck of a lot more confidence in that. Jenna asks, can we build on our original investment to get higher perks? Yes, you absolutely can. There is nothing stopping you from investing more. If you have already invested at a certain level and you're like, well, crud, I wish I had invested more. I didn't know there were perks. Go back in there. Log back in. As I understand it, it's very, very easy. You can hear my dogs barking in the background. That's fun. It is very, very easy to go back in and add to your original investment. So if that's something that you want to do, go for it. Do it. And if you have any trouble at all, on the website, there is a button that you can get help. And VidAngel Studio support will get back to you, and they'll help you with anything you need. Kathy just joined us, and she asked if we could please share the donation link. If somebody could go ahead and just shoot that link into the chat for Kathy, we want to make sure that she has a chance to go and do that. And Kathy, just as a reminder, it is not a donation; it is an investment. You are buying a piece of the film, so you're partnering with us. But we would love to partner with you, and we hope that you will, and we look forward to that. Awesome! Just popped up. Kathy said thank you. Love it. Let's see. I think there was another question that I missed, maybe? Maybe not. But yeah, just as a reminder, we are trying to hit 40K. 40K during this live stream. We are $750 away, especially thanks to Robert in Michigan, who just partnered with us for $1,000. Incredible. Love it. Thank you so much, Robert. All right. So just to review, for those of you that are coming in here late, we had a huge announcement earlier on at the start of this broadcast. And that big announcement is that Dan Hasseltine and Matt Nelson are the composers for The Chosen, but they are also now the composers for The Shift. Dan Hasseltine and Matt Nelson. Dan Hasseltine, of course, is the lead singer and songwriter for the band Jars of Clay, and Matt Nelson has an incredibly extensive career, including touring with Jars of Clay. And actually, Matt, I found out just recently, played cello on the song, the Jars of Clay song that I wrote into the feature film script. He played cello on that song. So that is a song that means a lot to all three of us. And hopefully we can make things work and we can get that song in there. But at the very least, we know that we've got Dan and Matt doing the score. And that is a huge, huge blessing. Earlier, go back and watch this later if you want, but I told a story of kind of my relationship with Jars of Clay going back many, many years and never having any hope of ever getting in touch with Dan and finding myself in a position where he's watched the shift, loved the shift, and then we entered into a conversation, and here we are now. It's an incredible thing when one of your artistic heroes watches something that you made and loves it. That has got to be one of my top 5 moments of my life. And the thing is it's happened twice this year. With of course, Dallas Jenkins is also our executive producer, and he watched the shift and he loved it. So it's just it's an incredible thing. It's an incredible thing that's happening with the shift on the creative side. On the creative side, I have every confidence that this film is going to be made, and it's going to be made to a standard of quality that is going to absolutely blow you away. The only question mark for me right now is, are we going to get the funding? Are we going to be able to have the money that we need to actually make it? And that is all down to you. That is all down to you and what you feel inspired to do today. $750 away from $40,000. Can we get there today? Can we get to $40,000 and kind of close in on that halfway mark? I believe the actual halfway mark to get to the 93K that we're trying to get by September 9th, if I'm doing the math correctly, would be $46,500, I believe, is roughly the halfway mark. So we're really getting close to that halfway mark. We're moving past the third mark and into the halfway mark to get to that 93K. And of course, at 93K, we unlock everything. Just a reminder, please share this stream, put it out to groups. Let's get as many people involved with us as we can, because we're now about to do something really exciting. But before I do this exciting thing, I desperately need a drink of water. So since I have absolutely nothing to cut to, I'm going to live drink this bottle of lemon water on air with you. I just desperately need I'm sorry. Okay, that was thrilling. Let's see. Jenna says, something I just learned. After the first $100, the site will let you add even $1 to your investment. Maybe everyone could pitch in their pocket change to get us to that last $750. Hey, that's great. I actually didn't know that. So that's great. If you've already invested, you can now invest any amount you want. As little as $1 you can invest. So if you want to go back in, you just want to put 25 bucks in, do it. That is totally open to you. Cool. All right, so the other thing that I want to do today that's very exciting is how about we do some director's commentary. Last time we did a stream, I watched the outdoor scene with you. We watched all of that together, and I was able to share and kind of share with you some of the things that I've never really shared before. And so I thought we could do that now with the first half, because it's a very long scene, with the first half of the diner scene. So let's dive into that. And when I'm doing this commentary, I am not able so much to look at your comments, but I can if the moderator sends them to me. So go ahead, moderator, if you still want to cut in on me and send me some comments, that's great. Otherwise, I'm going to be watching this with you guys. Okay, so let's check this out. This is the diner scene in the Shift short film. Also, don't forget, we have another announcement coming up later at the end of this broadcast. We're going to announce the details of our Thursday live stream. Okay, here we go. Oh no, it's not working properly. Okay. You're going to have to bear with me here for just a second because it's not letting me pause. So hold on here just a second. I got to do a little bit of troubleshooting. This shouldn't take too long. You know, you think you set everything up when you start, and then you get in there and all of a sudden you realize you messed something up. So this will only take a second. I just got to troubleshoot this. This is really exciting stuff. It's like watching the Social Network, but the really bad version where you can't actually see anybody hitting the keys with an excited expression and the pounding. It's an amazing what David Fincher was able to do with that movie, actually make people working on computers seem exciting. Okay, that should do it. Let's try this again. Okay, so no, it's not working. I am very, very unhappy right now. Hold on a second. I gotta try something else. Bear with me here, bear with me. I am gonna do this live. This is really exciting stuff for you guys, I know. But this is such a great scene to break down, and I want to do it correctly. Gosh, where is it? Let's see. Oh, the silence is unbearable. I'm just not very good at talking and doing something at the same time. It's just not a particular skill of mine. Oh shoot, that was the wrong place. Okay. One thing we can talk about while I am doing this and boring you half to tears is oh, there I am. Is the perks that we have on our site right now that you can check out. There are certain perks at certain investment levels, and I've already gone over this before, but in case anybody's coming in here late.
Just like I said, right?
If you put in a certain amount of investment, you can.
What do you know about me?
Nothing.
Come and visit the set.
I don't know who you
can
are.
Extra. You can actually be in the film.
Thank you.
Right this way.
And if you, or you could just be an executive producer.
Is that what
could
you
be
want
an
to hear?
Associate producer. You
And
can
what
read
do you
the
know about me?
script. There's a lot of really cool perks, and you can check that out under the
Steak
perks tab
and eggs.
on our investment site.
Glass
The
of
link
milk
for which
tall.
is in the chat, I believe, numerous times. And if you don't see it, just ask, and the moderator will be sure and get it there
Sure,
for
it's
you.
my treat.
Okay, I've almost got this.
Fine.
Kevin will have a coffee.
It's just not gonna do it, is it? Oh, I got it. Okay, now we just got to get sound. Okay, we're really close. We're really close. I just got to get sound. Okay. All right, you guys ready? Okay, we're gonna start this. Let's just rewind here. This is the beauty of live entertainment. I am doing this on the fly, and if something goes wrong, I have to fix it. So I do apologize for that. But we're gonna go ahead and we're gonna jump into this now. This is the diner scene. Let's check it out together. Okay, so right away, right here, this is telling on myself. Okay, this is something that we were going to take care of in post, but ultimately we just didn't have the time for it, and we didn't want to bother with it. So, but if you look very closely in the lower half of the door, you can see the reflection of our DP, Kyle Jentz, who is pushing the camera along a track, and you can really see it because he's obscuring a light, and as he moves, that light kind of changes shape as he moves in and around it. But he's pushing the camera towards the door, and his reflection is very clearly visible if you're looking for it. It's very dark reflection, but it's there, and it is an error. It shouldn't have happened, but it is what happened. But I've never talked to a single person who has ever noticed it. Looks like I'm missing some. Looks like I'm missing some comments here. Oh my goodness, we reached our goal. We reached our goal with $40,550. We just blew past our goal like it was nothing. Honestly, when I set this goal at the beginning of this live stream, I had my doubts as to whether or not we'd hit it, just based on how we'd done in past live streams. But here we are, we're doing better than we ever have on one of these live streams. and that is amazing. So cool. Oh my gosh, we hit it. Who is that? Can someone tell me who that person is so that we can oh no, I got it right here. It was Kathy in Pennsylvania. She partners with us for $1,000. Kathy in Pennsylvania, thank you so much. Wow, we not only got that last 750, we went beyond it. Okay, so now I'm greedy. Now, not greedy. That's a bad word to say when you're trying to get investment. Of course, it's not for me. It's for the film. It'll be a very long time before I make money on this. I wonder what we can do. Can we get to 41? Can we get to 41? I can't believe we made it to 40. I'm so stoked by that. I'm so excited. Thank you, Kathy. Thank you for partnering with us for $1,000. That's amazing. Okay, let's keep going with this. If we have more investments come in, I'm gonna interrupt this and we're gonna call them out because they're super important and I love seeing it. Okay, so you can see Kyle. Watch that door carefully. Here we go. All right, so that's a bad frame. There we go. Well, we just saw Tina, the waitress, and her father for the first time. Let's back that up. Let's start that again. There they are. Oh shoot, it's still playing. What's going on? Oh no. There we go. Let's try this again. Sorry, false start. Tina, the waitress, and her father is played by Greg Weick. Tina is actually, the actress is named Tina, believe it or not. I probably messed it up again. And Tina was working, of course, at the haunted house where pretty much all the actors you're seeing worked at, including Travis there, who's playing Satan. Greg is right behind him, and Mark over there on the right of the screen, and that's Beatrice, one of our extras, there on the left of the screen. All of them, we all worked at a haunted house together. This is being filmed barely a month and a half after that haunted house concluded, and we're all gathered together again for this short film. It was amazing for them to volunteer their time in this way. And just as a reminder, for those of you that don't know, the Shift short film was made for $500. $500 is all we had. And we made this film. And these guys were kind enough to do it. Tina had never cried on camera before. Never. And, well, you'll see that in a minute. And Greg was an actor. Actually, Greg was one of the few actors, two actors that weren't involved in the haunted house. But he came to me and has been a friend ever since. Love his work in this film. Okay, let's keep going.
Mark, hey, how's little Josh doing?
Okay, so this moment right here with Travis and Mark, this was not scripted. This was something I kind of hit Travis with in the moment as we were filming this, and I pulled him aside and I didn't really give him any lines. I just said, hey, lean over to this guy, and you did him a favor, and he made a deal with you, and you're just checking up on him, and you're gonna act like he's your best friend. And I told Mark, I said, Mark, you're scared to death of this guy. He's Satan. It doesn't matter what he's done for you. You're just scared of him. And so it's just this little moment that we created on set on the day, and I love it. I think it's an essential moment. I'm so glad we did it because it says so much right off the bat. I think it's important storytelling to kind of orient your audience at the beginning of a scene as much as you can, even if there's a lot of mystery going on. Orient your audience with something right at the beginning of the scene so that they can latch onto it and have an understanding, at least a little bit, of what the layout is. And I think the look on Mark's face, Mark McPherson, such a great face. Mark's a great actor here in Fresno, and he has such a great face. And he plays this so well, and I love this look and this little moment between them. Shout out to Kara partnering with us for $100. Shout out to Tara in Indiana for partnering with us for another $100, and to Suzanne, I don't know where she's from, for partnering with us for $750. They're just coming in. They're coming in. We could not be more grateful. I'm genuinely humbled by what's happening right now, and it's kind of amazing. That puts us, unless my math is way off, we're above 41K now. Can we get? This is crazy. Can we actually get to halfway to our minimum goal by the time this is over? Is that even near the realm of possibility? I have no idea. But let's just set that as a goal. Let's just see if we can do that. I love seeing this come in. The question is that just came in is, was it? Suzanne is from Mississippi, by the way. Shout out to Mississippi. Thank you, Suzanne. We definitely love Mississippi. Was it difficult casting Satan? Was the question that just came in. No, it was not difficult casting Satan. I had exactly one person in mind, and that was my friend Travis. Travis and I go way back. He's actually a movie director, mostly a movie director in his own right. He's done a few films now, feature films that have come out, including a couple of films from Blumhouse, which is an exciting production company out of Hollywood. But Travis is also a really great actor. He always gives himself a part in each of his films. And I love the qualities that he has as an actor. Travis is a very physical actor in the sense that he's very particular about the movement and what that says and what that communicates on screen. Travis is really good about creating those moments that are going to play really well to the camera. Travis is very aware of the camera. So he was a huge asset, and I knew he would do a bang-up job as Satan. Because Travis is also one of the better salesmen I know. Travis is very good at communicating a passion and communicating a vision, way better than I am, and getting that across to people and getting people to come and want to be a part of what he's doing. And I just felt like that persuasive quality was something that Satan, in my conception of Satan, needed to have. And then the other thing is that Travis is actually a really great father. He's a father to his children, and he's also a bit of a father figure on set. As a director, I think a director often takes that role on anyway. And I kind of saw Satan as a false father. That's what I called him to Travis, and that was kind of my direction to him. Is think salesman, but false father. He's trying to be everybody's friend, trying to take care of everybody, but of course, that's the image he projects as opposed to who he actually is. So Travis, I felt like kind of embodied those qualities in a good way that could then be used in a bad way in the shift. And so in that way, I think he did a fantastic job. All right, let's keep going.
Work out for him? Just like I said, right? Kevin, what do you know about me?
Nothing.
Love this shot of Tina, of her walking up. I have nothing else to say about it. I love what her hair is doing. Details like that really matter. Hair really matters to me. My friend Jenny Pauline Mendoza, I've been friends with her since we were kids. She came in as the hairstylist. Very, very accomplished, wonderful hairstylist. Used to cut my hair before when I actually had hair. And she did great things. I think the detail of how Tina's hair is draped down her face tells you so much about her. She's kind of haggard. She's kind of worn, and she's obviously very worried and very concerned. But I love the shot of her walking into frame. It's just a beautiful shot.
I don't know who you
Sure
are.
you do.
Two.
Yes, Tina. Thank you.
Right this way.
That right there, that kind of zoom in on Greg playing Tina's father was a total accident. And in fact, once I resume play, you'll notice that it actually goes out of focus right after this pause that I'm doing, because it was a complete accident that the camera held on him. I think the original direction was that the camera was going to pan. I'm not sure, but the fact that it held on him and that it actually focused in on him for just a second, I thought was just so great to see it on his face, to see his concern, to see his worry, to know that we don't know what's going on with this guy yet, and what's going on with his daughter, and why they're so afraid, and what's going on in this diner. But we know that he's worried, and just that look on his face. I'm so glad that we captured it. Complete accident, happy accident.
Fine. You're Satan. Is that what you want to hear?
And what do you know about me?
What can I get for you guys?
So I love this frame. I loved this location. This was actually not our original pick. I worked for an entire month to get a completely different cafe lined up, / diner, for this scene. And in the last minute, 4 days before we were ready to roll film, they backed out, and I had to scramble to find a new place. For those of you that are visiting Fresno, this is Country Waffles on Cedar and Herndon, very near the big church there, People's Church, just right across the street. Go eat at Country Waffles. They're great people, great food, great breakfast. But they were gracious enough to allow us to come in. They tossed me the keys. They walked out the door. We were there all night. We shot this whole thing in one night. Never do that. 14-page scene, one night. I'll talk more about that later. But one of the things that you're not seeing in this is how green everything is. You can see a little bit of green, but that restaurant is so green, and this is one of the magics of the magic of the movies, is that we were able to go in and change the green, suck out a lot of it, and put in red. So this whole movie, from this point, pretty much from the point that after the car wreck, it kind of turns into a more red vein, and it slowly gets redder as it goes. But one of the things we did to really spice up this location was to suck as much of the green out as we could and really color it red, and it gives it this very unique look that at first was kind of difficult to deal with. But I asked Kyle, our cinematographer, who is also our colorist, to make bold choices, and this was certainly a bold choice. This is radically altered from what the original frame looked like. At some point, maybe I'll post some of those original frames so you can see how different the coloring actually was on set and how different we made it look in post.
Steak and eggs. Glass of milk, tall.
Okay, I know I'm pausing like crazy. There's just so many different stories to share, and if that's bad, then somebody tell me to just shut up and let's watch the movie. But I had somebody ask me, and this is a friend of mine, a good friend of mine, who is not a believer in any sense, and she watched the film and she saw all these things in it, all these connections that were beyond what I intended, and definitely outside of the realm of faith. And it was just a fascinating email exchange that we had, and it showed me, of course, the potential for this film as far as with other audiences that aren't believers necessarily. But one of the things, the question she asked me, is she said, "Why steak and eggs and a tall glass of milk? Why is that Satan's meal of choice?" And she was the first person to ask me that. You know, we ordered all of these steaks, and we had these glasses of milk coming out one after another for the multiple takes. We had these eggs that were slowly just rotting over the course of the night, and nobody asked me, why in the world are we doing this meal? Why would Satan want steak, eggs, and a tall glass of milk? And my response to that was, I really don't know. I don't know why steak, eggs, and a tall glass of milk was the choice. It just was what felt right. And a lot of times that's what happens in storytelling. You're choosing something, you're putting something in the story, and you don't really know why it's there, but it just feels right. And I knew that Satan should eat steak, eggs, and a tall glass of milk, and that should be his order. There was something kind of Americana about that. There was something kind of interesting about him drinking milk. Who drinks milk as an adult? Not a whole lot of people I know, but he did. And then the more I thought about it, the more I realized, okay, well, let's say there was a reason. What would that reason be? What reason could I invent that would make sense? And I say invent with hesitation, because I think that sometimes in storytelling, you're inspired to do something, you don't know what it's for, but later on somebody else notices, or maybe even you notice, and then you realize, you know what, maybe there was a little bit more inspiration behind that, or some kind of subconscious direction that I wasn't aware of at the time. And so the reason that I came up with, that I told my friend, Emma was her name, I told Emma, I said, well, if I had to make up a reason, I think it's this. I think steak represents death. I think eggs represent life. Steak is dead meat. Eggs are, embryos, essentially. And they represent life. And I think that milk being white, is a symbol for purity. And when you think about it like that, you think about death, life, and purity. These are the things that Satan wants to have control over, right? He wants to be the master of life and death. And he wants to be in charge of our purity. And he wants to get rid of it. But he wants to master it in that way, have control of it so that he can get rid of it. He's a false father. He presents himself as a false father. Our Father has power over life and death. Our Father is encouraging our purity. And Satan wants control over those things. Look, is that too crazy? Is that too literary? Maybe. I mean, I don't have aspirations to be literary, but it was the idea that occurred in the moment, and it sounds right to me. It makes sense to me, and maybe that's some of what that intention is, and maybe that's just revealing too much, and I'm just sounding way too pretentious. But that was the thought that occurred to me, and that's, I think, maybe why he has that meal, because in the moment I sure as heck didn't know.
Kevin?
Well, just have a coffee, please.
Are you sure it's my treat?
Coffee's fine.
Kevin will have a coffee.
Okay, so I have to call out this moment. Kevin will have a coffee. I don't know about your house, but in my house, when people are quoting things, it's usually The Shift. Probably because people in this house have seen it so many times that they're sick of it. My wife often says if I have to watch The Shift one more time. But she's seen it a lot. And for whatever reason, Kevin will have a coffee is the line that sticks with her. And she'll just throw that line at me out of context whenever she feels like it. I think it's equal parts. It sticks in her mind. I think it's partly, I mean, it's not a great line. It's just, I think part of it is just the way Travis delivers it. But for whatever reason, Kevin will have a coffee is the memorable line in our house. And we don't even drink coffee. So I don't know what utility that line has, but my wife just loves to say it. Love this silent acting between Greg and Travis, this silent moment where he's just waiting for the answer. There's not enough of that in the short, and that's something we're going to see a lot more of in the feature film. Just letting the actors do their thing and letting those silences play to communicate something that words alone cannot.
You're a fiend, a crook, a liar. Your goal? Misery.
Straight out of Sunday school. You're religious then?
Yeah, sort of. I used to be.
It's different.
All right, so this is one of 2 times when we see Satan thrown off his game. That's different. He did not expect Kevin to tell him that he used to be religious. That was not expected. That's new. And that's what changes everything. That's what changes everything. And Satan, just for this second, you can see it in his eyes right now. He's thrown off. He's wondering. He's searching. He's trying to figure out what went wrong. What did go wrong? You know, I have a whole story concocted for that. I'll be honest with you, it's not going to be in the feature film. It doesn't really matter what went wrong. All that's really important is that something did go wrong. And maybe one day I'll get a chance to tell that full story. But what's important is that something is different. Kevin is different than all other Kevins. And it's that difference that changes everything.
Wouldn't you like to know how I do it all?
Do what?
Cause all this misery you're accusing me of. Although I prefer the term chaos.
You tempt people.
Basically. Let's talk about your marriage.
What about my marriage?
Molly's been cheating on you, clearly. Has been for a while.
What is this? What?
Just a reminder, Molly is played by my wife, and so that's difficult dialogue, but we're going to move past that. She's never cheated on me. That's not a thing.
You guys haven't had a real conversation in, 3 years? What did you think was gonna happen? Number 1 cause of a broken marriage. Can you guess?
So we get a little bit of it, just a little bit of the taste of the history of Kevin and Molly. We understand that they haven't really, for 3 years now, their marriage has been on the rocks. That's a really long time. One of the things that I'm most excited about the feature film is to really drill down on Kevin and Molly and talk about why they have this division between them. Why they've had this falling out, what's went wrong in their marriage, and before that even, we're gonna see how they got together, and how much love there really is there, and so to make it even more tragic that they're now in this state, I'm really excited to explore that. And of course, I've been saying it this whole time, we can't explore that without your help. If you want to see that more from Kevin and Molly, if you want to see if maybe they can ever be reconciled, we need your help. We need your help. We need your backing. It's happening right now. We've had a number of investments come in. We've blown past our goal of $40,000. We're up north of 41 at this point, and I hope that we can get even further than that. Can we get to the halfway point? I don't know. That may be a little too ambitious, but it would be cool. It would be cool to get to that. We so appreciate the investments we have, and we hope to see even more. We had a question come in while I was talking. This is from Andrea. She says, Brock, would you give yourself a part on screen like Travis did? What sort of part would it be if so? Here's the thing, Andrea. I would never give myself a part. There is no way I would ever do that. I am not an actor at all. I belong behind the camera. I don't even think I have a very good face for the screen, to be honest with you. I think some people have faces that are born for the screen. They got the right angles and things. Travis has got a great face for the screen. Greg, who plays Kevin, great face for the screen. Not me so much, but more importantly, I just really can't act. I don't have it in me. I can't. For whatever reason, I just don't have that skill, and I'm perfectly happy with that. I have no desire to be on camera. To be honest with you, if it were up to me, I wouldn't even be doing this right now. I love talking to you, and I love being able to talk about the film, but as far as being on camera and being the guy that's out front and that everybody knows, that is nowhere near anything that is a desire for me or that I receive any satisfaction from. So, but I do it because I believe in this movie and because it's important, and I think it's necessary to get the word out, and I'm the chief advocate, so here I am. But being on camera, not a desire of mine. I don't need to do that. You don't need to see that.
Lack of communication. Misunderstanding. Misunderstandings are the reason for so much conflict in this world. I mean, wars are fought over them. Entire lucrative professions are built around fixing them. And when communication breaks down, chaos.
All right, so a friend of mine and I, we used to have these long arguments back in college. Like, so I'm talking about staying up late at night and talking things over and over again, and trying to figure out, what is the real problem in the world? You do this in college, how do we solve it? Like, if everybody would just realize X, Y, Z, then everything would be okay. And my friend's theory is that the biggest problem in the world was communication. That if everybody could just perfectly communicate, if we could just perfectly say what it is that we want to, what we mean and who we are, and we could get that across to another person and they could perfectly understand where we're coming from, then all conflict would basically disappear from off the face of the earth and we would all be happy. And I was on the opposite side of that. I felt like that was totally wrong, that some people just want bad things. And if I perfectly understand that somebody wants a bad thing, that is not going to stop them from punching me in the face. It's just not. And so we'd go round and round and round on this. But the importance of communication was kind of what stuck with me, because he was right about that. Communication is one of the deciding factors as to whether or not people can have a successful relationship, whether or not that's marriage or some other relationship. It's often when we misunderstand each other that conflict arises. And so, from those conversations came kind of the germ of the idea for the shift, is that what if you could intentionally create misunderstandings, and what if you could create them in a way that was invisible, that nobody could figure out? And that's kind of where the idea for shifting came in. And that's where this idea is that Satan is talking about, this idea of how important communication is, that came from those late night conversations with my friend.
Steak and eggs, then a small glass of milk.
Excellent. So prompt.
Can I get you anything else?
This is incredible. Tina, my compliments to your mother. She just keeps outdoing herself.
I'll let her know.
Please, there's so much food. Stay, join us.
No,
Stay!
So great that knife stab that he does in the air, and I've had people say, I don't know if he's going to cut her with it or what he's going to do. They're so afraid of Satan right now and what he's doing, and he's such a mysterious figure and they don't understand. And I love the menace, and it's really the first moment of menace, besides the slap, which is kind of comical in the alleyway. It's the real first moment of menace for Satan, for him to just stab in the air and say, sit, and Travis delivers it in such a great way. And I think it was Travis's idea to hold that knife that way. That was kind of his touch. But he's just so insistent, and that music cue comes in there where it's kind of dark, and you just know that this is a guy that means business and he will be obeyed. You see the impatience on it, like just kind of the how dare you make me even insist that you sit. Tina has a role to play and she's just stepped out of it, and that makes Satan very, very frustrated. He's used to being obeyed. He's used to being listened to. We see that this guy does not take kindly to people not doing what he says.
Eat.
I love that. Satan isn't even looking at Tina. He's looking at Kevin. He wants Kevin to see his power. He wants him to see the control that he has. You just watched a vegetarian eat a bite of steak. It was real steak. Tina was really a vegetarian. I did not know that. She didn't tell me that. This was also her birthday. I didn't know that either. She didn't tell me that. It wasn't until much later that she told me these things. So she was a real trooper that night. And like I said, she'd never cried on camera before, so here she is eating steak as a vegetarian on her birthday and crying on camera. So grateful to her and her performance.
Good, right?
Good, right. That would be the other line that my wife quotes a lot. Good, right? Again, I think it's down to the way Travis delivers it and not so much what I wrote. And Kevin here, he's just lost. He's like, what is happening right now? I mean, I think Greg's reaction here is just so great. It's exactly what any of us would be thinking in that moment.
This morning you had an argument with your wife about paying the bills. Did you promise to pay the bills?
All right, and here's where we get in the weeds. You want to know what shifting is? You want to know how it works? What the sci-fi element is? Here it is. And this is where some people check out. Not a lot, but some people I know check out at this point.
I don't think so.
Two people see the same accident, but their accounts differ wildly. Why?
They each see it by their own perspective or bias.
Wrong. They both see different accidents. Each one of them sees a different accident. Both are telling the truth, and they'll never agree.
So this is kind of the Matrix moment, where you have Satan kind of describing a world that we're familiar with, right? It's a common occurrence. People see an accident, they describe it to the police, and the police get wildly varying accounts. That is a familiar thing. We're rooting all of the sci-fi we're about to hit you with. We're rooting it within a phenomenon that you are already familiar with.
What? There is no fiction. For every choice you make, there are countless other realities where you make different choices. And that's true for every single decision made by every person who ever lived. Choice breeds infinite possibilities. Choice breeds realities. There's not a thing you can imagine that doesn't already exist somewhere, somewhen. There is no fiction.
Parallel Earths.
So good. So good. So good when he gets it. I love this moment.
And you.
There's just something so jerky about him turning to Tina and asking her to identify how cool this moment is. I love that choice. Yeah, so this is it. This is the idea that there is no fiction. And look, there's a much bigger, giant, blockbuster Marvel-style movie to be made with this concept. Because if there is no fiction, that means everything is true. Everything. That means the Lord of the Rings happened. That means Star Wars happened. That means there's vampires and werewolves and anything you can imagine. There's a whole crazy series of stories you could do based on just this idea that you can go to these worlds and things have happened. That's really what I was trying to get across with this line. There is no fiction. And of course, the father of lies would love you to believe that there is no fiction, that it's just all true. Of course he wants you to believe that. It's a big concept, but it's rooted in something that is really kind of sadistic the more you think about it.
Imagine the power to move one person from one reality to the next, to swap someone out for their doppelganger from another Earth, to shift them. That's what I do.
I never talked to Molly about paying the bills.
No, you didn't. I shifted her. Replaced her with a version of your wife whose husband did, in fact, promise to pay the bills.
But
again, it's such a jerk move to laugh in that moment. But this is Satan. This is him enjoying the moment. This is him being in complete control and talking about something that is just really exciting. It's like a magician pulling back the curtain, and it turns out the how he did the trick is even cooler than the trick itself. That's essentially what's happening here. That's the emotion that's coursing through Satan in this moment, the character of Satan. And like I said, this is our Matrix moment. We're pulling the curtain back also on this world. This is Neo waking up and realizing that the life he's lived this entire time, that he's felt so unsettled by, can be easily explained by the fact that he's been inside of a computer simulation the entire time. And how many of us have had those moments where we've had those idle wonderings of, well, I wonder if there's something else going on. Is this even real? Am I awake, or is this the dream? You know? And it's kind of that moment here for Kevin. Where he's realizing that these really simple things in life. I don't remember promising to pay the bills, but she says I did. We've all had that moment. I've had 100 of those moments. My wife is sick of me saying, citing the shift as a reason for some of the misunderstandings we've had. But that's why I wrote the shift, because we've had so many of those kinds of misunderstandings, and it explains something. And so we're rooting this crazy sci-fi concept into something that we're all familiar with. Is it real? No, of course it's not. It's not real. I'm not trying to say that it's real, but it's an interesting thing to think about and to imagine, and I think it's a kind of a way into these crazy concepts that we're dealing with, these parallel universes and realities, which are based in some kind of scientific theory that's real and that I don't fully understand, but to root that in something that's everyday, like a car crash, or I promised to pay the bills, no you didn't, that kind of thing. That I think is our way into the world of the shift.
Why?
Just one tiny difference. Disagreement, confusion, tension, chaos.
Why?
Shifted. It's how the worlds work, Kevin.
Prove it. I don't believe you.
Okay, so Kevin not believing this is totally understandable. Even after all of this, even after seeing, his car gone and Satan, not, meaning total control and everybody, listening to him, it's too outlandish. It's too crazy. And so the move that he makes next to get that proof, to get, some might say, a sign, this is the move that unravels everything.
I need to see it. Shift something.
I need to see it. Give
What would
me
you
a
like
sign.
me to shift, Kevin?
And Satan doesn't even have to ask. He
Shift
knows.
her.
Sure.
So for you film nerds out there, this is what we call crossing the line. The entire time we've been on the right side of Kevin and Satan, and now we've moved over to the left side to reveal Tina, who we've always known is there. But my hope is, and this is what I try to do in the editing, is that maybe at least for a minute you kind of forgot she was there. You were so focused in on Kevin and Satan that maybe you forgot just for a second that Tina was even there. And of course you shouldn't forget Tina's there, because it's all about Tina in this moment. Oops, sorry. Great performance by Tina. Travis just relishing the moment. Okay, now I want you to pay very close attention to what happens next. This is a very, very old school technique, all right? We did not go crazy with special effects here. It was really simple. It was Travis turning his watch, and then me saying, everybody freeze. Tina gets out of the chair and goes somewhere else, and then I said unfreeze, and then everybody started moving again. And then in post, in the editing, I just kind of, took out the moment of Tina leaving the chair. The effect is really simple. The problem is that when you do it that way, people still move in really subtle ways. And in particular, Travis moved his hand in a really subtle ways. So his fingers, they changed position. From when Tina was sitting to when she was gone, Travis's fingers changed position a little bit. And so I had to do a little bit of what's called morphing within the computer. And the morphing worked great for the entire frame, except for Travis's hands, because the fingers were in such different position. And because your focus is on Tina, I don't know of anybody who has ever noticed it, but watch Travis's hands very closely as I hit play again. Watch his hands. It's happened so quick and it's so subtle, but it looks like his fingers have kind of phased a little bit, like there's a ghostly image that kind of happens. It's almost imperceptible, and it's only for a few frames, but it does happen. It's a mistake, But it's actually a mistake that works because that's where the action is happening. It's happening on his fingers, and so maybe there's this weird thing that happens when he uses that device, which in the movie is given a name, but we haven't given it a name in the short, so I won't spoil it. But it's this imperceptible little thing when Tina disappears. If you ever watch it again, slow it down if you can in that moment, and you'll see what I'm talking about. He's so satisfied, just waiting. All right, and that's it. That is the first half of the diner scene. That is all we're going to watch. I've certainly been talking long enough about that. I'm going to jump back over here to Facebook and see what I've been missing. Cool. I'm now paying attention a little bit more to the comments. Let's see. Are there any questions that I've missed? Doesn't look like it. I can't believe we reached our goal. We reached our goal of 41,000 plus, which is just incredible. Well, our goal was 40, and we topped it. I wonder if there are any more investments that are going to come in. Is there anybody else who's watching this right now, and you've got it on your heart to invest? I hope that you will. I hope that you'll join us. There's such a power in this film, and I've seen it happen over and over again as people have watched it and have commented, and they've talked about the effect that the prayer has on them. And I'll tell you what's hard about that for me. When people talk about the prayer, and they're talking about the shift in the short film, I'm so glad that they're moved by it. But knowing what we have in store for the feature film, and how much, I'm going to go out on a limb here and say how we top the prayer. The way that we top the prayer, and I think we're going to top the prayer more than once, in terms of impact, in terms of emotional connection. If there's anything that's shortchanged in a short film like this, is that you don't really connect to Kevin that well. You don't know enough about him, I think, to truly connect. But in the feature film, we're really going to connect with him, and he's going to go through some stuff, and there are some moments that we have planned. And I think these are some of the moments that maybe really excited Dan and Matt, who are going to be our composers, who composed The Chosen. If you missed that earlier, we had that big announcement. The composers of The Chosen are going to compose the music for the shift, which is amazing and blowing my mind. There's moments like that these guys are going to dig in on the music, and I think it is just going to be so powerful and so impactful. Whatever you get out of watching this short, times 100 on that for the feature film. I mean, honestly, that is my goal. That is where all of my energy is going to be focused, is making it so that when you get to the end of that feature film, you feel like, I honestly, and this is not a small goal, so I say this very, very carefully, I hope that people feel like they've had a real experience, and that they have, in some at least small way, drawn closer to their Heavenly Father, and drawn closer to the knowledge of His love as it manifests itself here on this earth. Because even though we're going to other earths and we're dealing with these crazy concepts, the feature film in particular is rooted so much in our experience here and in the difficulties and the trials. And I have talked about my own difficulties and trials. I'm not getting into that so much on this live stream. But I understand what it's like to wait on the Lord. I understand what it's like to wait on Him for a long time and to wonder where He is. And I think that's, in microcosm, what's happening in the short film, where Kevin is going out on a limb, he's saying that prayer, and he doesn't know if he's going to fall off that limb, if it's going to break out from under him, or if he's going to be supported and lifted up even higher. He really does not know in that moment what's going to happen. And that is an experience that replicates itself in the life of every believer that I know. We are always going out on those limbs and wondering if it's going to crack or if we're going to be lifted up even higher. And that is the central question of the feature film. Is it going to crack? Is Kevin's faith going to crack? Or is it going to be lifted up even higher? And I think that the answer, or rather the way that it's going to play out in the feature film, is going to be huge. It's going to be so impactful and on a much greater scale. So if you like the feature film, if you like what it's doing, if you feel like it's powerful, just wait. Just wait. There's so much more, but we can't do it. We can't do it without your support. We can't do it without you coming in and saying, it's got to happen, and I got to be part of making it happen. A lot of people wish they had gotten in on the Chosen early. This is early. This is it. We have 30 days, and this is it for the shift. And if you want to do it, then come on in with us. Partner with us. Get on this journey with us. Let's make it happen together. I don't say that for myself. I say that for this film. I believe so much in this film. I'm just about ran myself ragged and hoarse. I've been talking for 2 hours straight, and I will do this again and again and again. And I'm sure as we get to the end of this thing, and as September 30th is nearing, I'm going to be talking for 8 hours straight, and I'll do it gladly because I believe in what this film has to say. I believe in the people that are gathering to it, and I believe that it is important, and I believe that it's something that God wants out there. If I didn't believe that, I wouldn't be doing it. But I can't do it without you. And so I hope that you will join us. We have until September 9th to get our minimum. We really need to hit that minimum goal by September 9th. Without hitting that minimum goal by September 9th, we cannot bring this to all of the other people who we want to see this film. We need that money in order to further our campaign. And then we'll have enough money for $1 million campaign, for a campaign that can get us to that million. So I am waiting on the Lord, and I'm waiting on you. I'm waiting on you to come in and partner with us. And so many of you already have partnered with us, have come in. Somebody just said, it doesn't feel like 2 hours. Sabrina said that. You are too kind, Sabrina, to say that this doesn't feel like 2 hours. I'm feeling every minute of it, and I don't mind it, because I'll keep pushing this film. I'll keep pushing it forward. We have until September 9th to get to that 93, to get to the next level of our campaign. I hope you'll join us. I hope you'll back it. The return on the investment for you is 120%. If the film makes money, you get 120% of your investment before I get anything. Before I get anything at all. And let's talk about the investment process. One of the concerns that people have had lately is with the Social Security number. A lot of people are like, I do not want to give my Social Security number. I'm not going to do that. So let's talk about that. Why in the world are we asking? Actually, I'm not asking. VidAngel isn't even asking for your Social Security number. The bank is asking for the Social Security number. And the reason for that is because when you invest in this film, you're not making a donation, you're getting a share. And a share is a security. And a security is something that is governed by certain laws that I don't understand, but that require you to give your Social Security. That's what the bank requires. And so we're not collecting Social Security numbers or anything like that. And they're not being distributed or anything like that. It's going to the bank so that they can hold on to the money and not give it to us. That's what's actually happening. Your money is going into a trust that will then be released once we hit our goal. And you'll have another opportunity to back out even at that point if you want. I hope you don't, but you'll have an opportunity. But the Social Security number is not something that we want or desire. It's just part of the way that this works. And it's part of what has to be, the information that has to be gathered. So if you're having a hesitation about the Social Security number, I hope that you can set that aside. If you can't, I understand. Not everybody can. But please know that is not information that we desire or want. But it is necessary in order to do an investment, as it is for any investment that's governed by the SEC. That's just the way it works. Let's see. We are coming to the end of this. I am ready for your questions. If you have any questions, I am watching the chat right now. I can't wait to go back and read all of your comments. Please know that I read every single comment. And if you've asked me something that I missed during this chat, I will respond to it. But please feel free to give me your comments. So any questions you have, I'm paying attention right now. I'm looking at it. I'm waiting for it. Hit me with whatever you've got. I'm glad to answer any questions about the investment, questions about the feature film, questions about the short film, about VidAngel, about Dallas Jenkins, who is our executive producer, about Matt Nelson and Dan Hasseltine, who are our composers, just announced during this live stream. You're the first people to know that. You are the first ones to know about that and to know about everything that's going on. Sorry, it's been 2 hours. The mind isn't working as fast as it did at the beginning of this. We did just get a question from Noah. Will Darren Scott Jacobs be juggling in the film? No, I'm sorry. We will not be employing Darren's prodigious juggling skills. I did an interview with Against the Tide Media recently. This is what Noah's referring to. It's a great interview. You should go check it out. Darren was the one who conducted the interview, and at the end, he did some juggling, and it was pretty fun. See, Kathy asked, the actor portraying Satan, I noticed he talked a lot using his knife. Was that his choice or your direction? That was Travis's choice. So as I mentioned before, Travis Clough, who played Satan, he's very attentive to physical details of performance. And so a lot of the stuff with the knife, a lot of the little moves he did came from him. So I'm so grateful that he put that much thought and energy into that performance. It's such a great performance. Judy asks, was it difficult to cast Satan? I did mention this one earlier before, but I'll just go ahead and review it real quickly. It was not difficult to cast Satan. I had only one person in mind, and that was Travis. And he does not usually do a whole lot of acting. So he did a major favor for me by going in and performing that part. Travis is a great salesman, and he's a great father. And so I wanted to use the negative aspects of those talents in Satan. And Travis did a beautiful job of manifesting what are his virtues into kind of these negative aspects as playing Satan. Andrea asked, does the majority of the movie happen in the same world as Satan's diner, or does Kevin shift more than twice? This is a tough question to answer because I don't want to spoil too much. I will say that a good portion of the movie takes place in the same world as Satan's diner. A good portion of it does. Is that the only world that it happens in? No, it's not. Not at the beginning, and also, later on. There's other places. There's other places. We'll say that. Judy says the suit Satan wore was perfect. Yes, it was, and that was Satan's own. Not Satan. That was Travis's selection from his own wardrobe. He'd gotten that when he was out of the country, and he found he found this suit and he liked it and he bought it and he brought it out when we were planning things, and it was just perfect. So that was from his own wardrobe. As far as I know, he still has that suit. I've never seen it again, but it was a pretty great suit. Kathy asked a silly question. How much steak did Travis have to eat? A lot of steak. I think we had like 4 or 5 steaks prepared that night. And we had the cooks in the restaurant literally cooking the steak there, and we just kept trying to feed it to him. It was a 14-hour shoot. So by the time we got down to the end of that shoot, that steak was not very tasty. And Travis would eat it, and then between takes, he'd spit it out. He tried not to swallow as much as he could. But the steak, there was a lot of steak, and Travis filled up on a lot of steak that night. And I felt really bad that I even scripted that in. But I hope you agree that it makes such an impact, him eating that steak. There's just something kind of sinister about him just, merrily eating while he's talking to Kevin. Noah's question, when Satan yells, stay, what if Tina said, I'm not listening to a word you say? If Tina had said that in that moment, that would have gone down very, very badly. Suffices to say, Tina's scared for a reason. So I don't think that would have been necessarily a good idea. Does that mean that Tina couldn't have resisted? I think there is a way to resist Satan, and I think Kevin kind of shows us that at the end of the short. But for whatever reason, Tina did not make the same choice. Maybe she didn't know that was an option to her. Certainly that's something we'll find out more about in the feature film, which goes to Jenna's question, will we get some backstory on some of the other diner patrons? Yes, we will. Not them specifically, but just them as a concept of who they are in this world and what this world is like and why they're there and why they're not leaving and why they're scared. There's a lot more to explore there. There's a lot of world building that I had to do in order to craft this script and really figure out, not that I had to figure it out, I already knew, but why are the patrons there and what are they doing there and why are they scared and why does Tina go along with things? That's a big question. Why does Tina just go along with it? She tries to resist, she tries to walk away, but ultimately she does her part. Her part. Is there a role she's playing? Is there a reason? What's going on there? And why would her father literally push her towards Satan? There's a lot of questions to ask. And those are actually answers that I had while we were making the short, I kind of built that story. Even before I built the story of the feature film, I had in mind kind of what this world was like and why it was this way. And I really want you to discover that in the feature film. So I'm going to stop talking about that. Will Satan be recast? Judy asks. Yes, so we're going to be recasting the parts. Not that our actors didn't do a fantastic job. They did a fantastic job. But we are looking to recast the parts, mostly in terms of, for marketing purposes. We want to get people who, particularly in the role of Satan, we'd like to get a name actor, somebody who you would recognize, or at least from has some credits to their name. When the film comes out and you don't recognize anybody in the cast, it's really to the detriment of the marketing of the film. That's a film that you tend to shy away from and think, well, it must not be that great. They couldn't really get anybody. So as much as I love our actors, none of them are really name people. And so we're going to be recasting and with an eye towards people that can be exciting as we go out into the marketplace. That's really the goal with that. Let's see. Do any of the other diner patrons figure in the story? Not really. No, we're not really going to see much from them as individuals, so I can say that. Let's see, what else are we missing? What are the questions? Oh, Jenna says we are at $41,500 now. $41,500. Incredible. How did we get there? Who brought us there? I got to keep scrolling, see if I can find. Teresa asks a question. Will we see Tina again? Yes. I'll just say yes and leave it at that. Noah asks, will Justin Overlander be an associate producer? Justin Overlander, of course, is an associate producer on The Chosen. I only know Justin from his broadcasts. I've never had any conversations with him. I hope to visit the set of of The Chosen here as it's gearing up for season 2. I hope to visit and get to know people. That's one of the things I have planned, and I hope to get to know Justin and meet Justin then. But Justin is not planned to be an associate producer. I don't even know Justin, I'm afraid, although he seems like a super nice guy. Has the feature already been written? Kathy wants to know, is the feature already written? Yes, the feature's already been written. It's 8 drafts in. As I mentioned earlier when I was talking about Dan Hasseltine and Matt Nelson, the composers of The Chosen, who have now, as of today, signed up to compose the music for The Shift, I sent them the script, and they read the script. And it was based on the script that they got excited about the feature film. So if you can track Dan and Matt down and tie them to a chair, I don't recommend this. Please don't do this, and please don't tell them that I said this. You could probably coerce the information out of them and find out from them, what the feature film is going to be, because they literally know everything. They know everything. And it's based on that they decided to sign on. They believe in this story that we're telling. And they are giving their talents to it. I appreciate you who are investing tonight. You are making it happen right now. It's so important that we get to that 93,000 by September 9th. That's our goal. We've got to hit that number, or we cannot get this campaign. We cannot make it big enough to get all the way to 1 million. It's a tall order. 1 week, we essentially need to more than double our current investment. Is that possible? I think it is, but not without your help. Never mind why, Andrea asked, never mind why Tina doesn't resist. Why don't her parents? They know what could happen to her. Do they not care enough to take that role themselves? Look, we know from what Satan says later on, after the part of the scene that we watched tonight, that they've had many daughters who have gone through this process and who have disappeared in the same way that Tina has. Her parents, I would not judge them too harshly. They've been through a lot. And Tina's their last daughter. And so the fact that they're pushing Tina towards him, there's a very good reason for that. And it's not a reason I can talk about now, but it is dealt with in the feature film. You will understand Tina's parents' behavior. And I think that you'll have a lot of grace for them. Kathy asks, what names are you considering? She's referring to the actors that have, as far as for the feature film, what actors would we consider for the feature film? I can't tell you. I'm sorry, I can't. I don't want to jeopardize any potential future relationships. My wife in the pitch video jokes about it, reaching out to Jennifer Garner to play Molly, which would be amazing and will probably not happen because she's such a huge star, such a big name. And I doubt we could pay her what she would require. But I would love her, but I see that as a very, very almost impossible, basically impossible possibility. But the other actors that we are considering who are equally as talented, I hesitate to talk about, and I hope to share that with you. I want to provide as much transparency as possible, but that's just not one of those things that I feel good about having transparency on. So we're going to let that topic just lie for now. Jenna says we are exactly $5,000 to go for the halfway point for the minimum. $5,000 to the minimum, halfway to the minimum. Is there somebody out there right now who could just put $5,000 on this? I don't know. That seems like a tall order, but that's possible. I know that's possible. Will it happen tonight? Does it need to happen tonight? I don't know. But I think it's incredible that we're already at $5,000 to go to the halfway point. That's amazing. Let's see. I'm looking for more comments. It looks like that's all the questions we've got right now. I have now been talking for over 2 hours. If you've been watching with this from the beginning, who are you? And please go take a nap. I know I need one after this. But thank you. Thank you for sticking with me. You guys are amazing. Here's another question that just came in. Noah, will Jeff Bezos be funding the shift? Okay, Jeff Bezos could Jeff Bezos could take what he takes in 5 minutes. Take what he makes in 5 minutes, probably less than that, and fund us instantly. If Jeff Bezos wants to fund this, I'd be more than happy to take his money. But I do not believe that is going to happen. Jane says, how about God's impossible math? Dallas coined that phrase, or a friend coined it for him, and he's been using it ever since. We are depending on God's impossible math to make this happen. And I believe that he works through other people, most of all, and that's you. It is an impossible thing. I believe it is literally impossible for us to get to $1 million by September 30th. That's impossible. But it is possible because of who we have on our side. And so it really comes down to whether or not it's his will that happens. And you'll know within yourself if that's something that you want to do, and if that's something that you want to be a part of. We certainly need you. Let's see. Another question came in. Should we get some sleep? Noah wants to know if we should get some sleep. Probably, depending on where you are. Where I am right now, it's still kind of daylight. Where you are, it might be very, very late. So, if you need some sleep after this, I wouldn't blame you. If you're not asleep already, I don't understand that, because I believe that I would be putting you to sleep after talking for this long. Okay. Let's see. Let's wrap this up. I think we're coming to the end of this. I don't think we're going to get to that halfway point tonight, and that's okay. We've already hit our goal tonight was $40,000. We're already past that. We're $1,500 past that. So I am very, very pleased with what is happening. Noah says we can do all things through Christ who gives us strength. Absolutely. Absolutely. I think it's entirely possible for us to get to $1 million by September 30th. It's impossible by any conventional logic. Is it possible with supernatural logic? Yeah. Yes, it is. And I hope that you'll consider partnering with us for that reason. If you believe that this story is important, if you are touched by it in any way, if you want to see it happen, help us. Help us. Back this project. Partner with us. Let us tell the rest of this story. There's so much more to tell. I'm hinting at it. I'm dropping hints here and there. I don't want to tell you the whole story. If I have to, I'll read it to you. No, I won't. I'm not going to do that. It's got to be a movie. I believe it's going to be a movie. We're gonna do it that way. We're going to do it right. And we can do it right with your help. When we started this broadcast, we were at $37,400. We are now at $41,500. That's how much we've jumped during this two hours we've been together. It's incredible. Those of you that have come on board, thank you so much. I believe that this can happen. I believe that it will happen one way or the other. We're going to do this, and we're going to do it together. I thank you so much for joining me. Just to recap. Oh, and I have an announcement to make. Okay, if you're backing out of this and you're like, oh, credit's ending, I'm done. The credits are rolling, yes, but we're going to do a big announcement about what our Thursday live stream. We're doing this all again in 2 more days, and I'm going to tell you what that live stream is going to be. If I'm yelling at you right now, I'm really sorry. I'm gonna tell you what that's going to be in just a minute. Dallas Jenkins, executive producer. Matt Nelson, Dan Hasseltine, composers for The Shift. Just announced tonight. It's happening right now. I just got a text from my wife that it's almost dinner, so I need to wrap this up because I'm really hungry. There's big things happening. On the creative side, we are making this happen. We are going to make a quality film. What we lack is money. I hate it. I hate talking about money, but it's what we lack. If you can get on board with this, if you can understand, if you feel like it's on your heart that this is important, please partner with us. Let's make it happen. Let's make this film happen. I have so much passion and so much drive and so much energy for this. You can't exhaust me. I will not be exhausted until this film is made, and then I'll rest. Let's make that announcement now. Let me tell you about what we've got planned for Thursday. Thursday night, I've reached out to all the actors from the short film, and most of them are going to be joining us as long as the technology holds and Zoom happens. We're going to be joined by Gregory C. Tharp, who plays Kevin. We're going to be joined by Travis Clough, who plays Satan. We're going to be joined by Erin Heasley, my wife. She's going to be here right next to me. Who played Molly. We're going to be joined by CJ Leonzo, who played Brendan. And we're going to be joined by Greg Wyke, who played Tina's father. All 5 of those actors are going to be joining us Thursday night. They are going to be ready for your questions. I'm finally going to get a chance to shut up and be quiet during one of these and just listen. And I'm excited for them to share with you their perspective. You've heard so much from me. You're going to hear their perspective. I'm especially genuinely frightened of the fact that my wife is going to be joining us. Because if you know her, she of anyone in this world, she cuts me the least amount of slack. So be prepared for some ribbing, be prepared for some good-natured making fun of me. I'm confident she's going to reveal things I don't want to be revealed, but that's just part and parcel of being married. You're going to see a little bit of our marriage, the marriage that inspired Kevin and Molly's marriage. Even though our marriage is safe and sound and 20 years strong, she is a huge inspiration for me. But I'm excited for you to meet Travis. Let's meet Satan outside of the confines of this film and see what he's really like, and Greg as well, and CJ and Greg and the other Greg Wyke, who played Tina's father. I'm excited for you to get to know them. No, they're not going to be joining us on the feature, but they're going to be with us Thursday night, 5 p.m. Pacific, 6 p.m. Mountain, 7 p.m. Central, 8 p.m. Eastern. I think I just did that right without any errors. I hope you'll join us. It's going to be really fun. It's going to be a fun time. I expect a lot of laughing, and I expect your questions. Come prepared with questions. Let them give them something to talk about. I know you will. I wonder what our investment will do by then. I wonder where we'll be. Will we be halfway by Thursday? I think we can get there by Thursday. And then what's going to happen Thursday? I'm so excited. I'm so excited to share more of this journey with you and to talk to you again. Thank you for joining me tonight. Thank you for being patient with some of the technical difficulties that we had, and thank you for your support of this film. September 9th, $93,000. That is the goal. If that's on your heart, if that's something that you know needs to happen, please help us get there. If you've already invested, you can invest again. You can add to your investment. It's as simple as going back and logging back in and making it happen. Thank you. I appreciate all of you so much. Thank you for your comments. Thank you for being here with me and sticking it out. We have a whole month to go, a whole month together, and some really exciting things happening. I got some text from Dallas while we were talking. I got to go respond to him. I know he's got something really cool that he's cooked up to share with you about The Shift, and I can't wait to show that to you. Thank you. Thank you for joining us. We'll see you again later. Very soon. Thursday. Not later or very soon. Thursday. 5 p.m. Pacific. I'll see you then.